What do you think Wings fans are going to like about Carter, and what about him appealed to you?
Well, what do I think they're getting a very intelligent hockey player, extremely competitive, um, and at the junior level, he really can score. And we think all of his game translates to the NHL as well. So I think our fan base will really take to him when the time comes that he's playing for the Red Wings because he competes hard. He's a really good person. Yeah, I think I know we're very excited about this pick.
You guys do so many interviews at the combine and such. Was there anything about him in particular that stood out?
But just very down to earth, just um, very nice young man, committed to playing hockey. You know, our guys, Chris and our staff, our area guys, throughout the course of the year, spend a lot of time with the kids. You know, we go to the combine in Buffalo. We get to spend a half hour or so with them, but we kind of know what to expect going in, and you can imagine being, you know, an 17, 18-year old going into an interview with a bunch of older guys. That you know, for these kids, can be intimidating. But again, a very nice young man. As we spent time, he opened up a little bit with us. But he's very honest, just very down to earth and hardworking. Again, I think you're really gonna like. I know you're really gonna like him.
And lastly, just were there any trades you explored?
Yes.
Okay, any that you instigated, or that uh, people came to you, or were you tempted by anything, or?
Um, well, I talked to every team in the league, and there's, you have some conversations with some teams that are interested in our assets and vice versa. And ultimately, at least up to tonight, haven't found anything that was a fit for myself or anyone that I've been speaking with.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Ted?
Hey, Steve. Hey, how did this decentralized format work for you guys tonight? I mean, did you feel comfortable? Did you guys feel comfortable with it, or how'd it go?
Yeah, it was fine. First round's pretty easy because it's not the fastest pace. So
No.
yeah. Personally, I personally like it. I just think it's easier. We're in a quieter room. It's a little bit more relaxed for us. Um, tomorrow, as you know, during the pandemic, we did this twice, and Saturday had a tenant. Saturday and those two drafts really dragged on. And judging by the pace of tonight, it'll probably drag on tomorrow. But I like the format where in our offices, in our own confines, it's a little quieter. It's not as noisy as being in the big arena and whatnot. So um, I'm in favor of doing it from our home building. I think I believe football does it that way. I think baseball does it that way as well, and the NBA as well. I think so. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Hey, last one. Carter had the Achilles surgery. Any concern there at all?
No, no, obviously we were aware of that. We checked it out. We talked when he's examined fully. We expect it to heal. And speaking with our medical team, he didn't actually he didn't tear it, but he got cut with a skate, a partial tear, that our doctors feel will heal 100%. And he will not be, it wasn't a concern for us at all. Obviously in the future, anything can happen to athletes, but it's not an injury we're worried about at all.
Thanks, Steve. Good night, good morning, whatever.
We'll see you
Thanks.
bright and early.
Max?
Hey, Steve, you talked about the skill and the intelligence. I'm curious. I mean, can you talk about the value of the hard skill that he brings, specifically like around the net, and how much of the appeal was that for you guys?
Well, there's all different types of players in the game, all different types of good players, but we just think he brings some elements as well beyond just shooting the puck in the net, beyond being smart. Like he's hard to play against, and he's tenacious, and And one also a very good defensive hockey player as well, and that's due to his smarts, and he's committed to being a good player. So I think we believe he plays a style of hockey that is conducive to winning. That good players on good teams do. He has very good habits. So, and again, he's a kid that competes hard, and he's actually very good with the puck and very smart and can make plays, but he has a bit of edge to his game too. And if he's going in the corner with somebody, he's going to come out with that puck a lot more than not.
And then on the broadcast, you called him a special young prospect. I'm curious, is that about kind of the rarity of some of those traits, that like kind of throwback edge, or what did you mean by that?
Well, we think he's a very excellent young man. Very high character, very serious about hockey, and we just think he's got very good sense and very good puck skills. So, and the competitive edge that he brings every night. But again, you'll get to meet him, and I haven't spent a lot of time with him. I spent a lot of time talking with our scouts about him and people around him, and everybody raves about this young man, his character, his personality, and just the way he is around his teammates.
Thank you.
Answer.
Yeah, Steve, just to follow up a little bit on that, you talked about the qualities of being hard to play against and being competitive. Just how would you define players that are hard to play against, as far as what do they bring to the table, and just how important is that to have a few of those guys just within the organization?
Well, he's tenacious. He's competitive. He fights for space on the ice. He'll fight for space in front of the net. He's going to go in the corner and come out of the corner with the puck, whether it's through smarts or if he's got to play the body, he will. So again, I think it's just that there's a lot of different ways to be hard to play against, and not everybody is 6'4", 225 pounds, and is running guys. And although he's 6 foot, and he'll end up probably playing at 190, maybe 200 pounds when all's said and done. And he's very competitive, and he will play a physical game, but mostly it's just the determination that he plays with in all areas of the ice, whether it's trying to get to the net to score a goal, or playing on the defensive side to shut his opponent down, or the winger that he's facing off next to.
Thanks, Steve.
Moby.
Steve, because Carter didn't do or wasn't able to do any of the fitness tests at the combine, did you have to weigh his interview process differently versus the young men that you were able to see their tests and analytics, or how did that process work for you guys?
Yeah, that obviously we would have liked to. We tried to get test results on the kids that are at the combine that do the tests, and then a lot of kids that don't even come to the combine. Most teams will do some testing throughout the course of the year or in their off-season training program, and the kids are generally good about getting the results to us. Unfortunately, with Carter's injury, we didn't get any of those test results. So we basically, for the most part, will use that as secondary information. Ultimately, the most important is what they do on the ice. We felt more than comfortable in selecting him, even though we didn't get that information. But we do believe he's a good athlete. Most of all, we really like the way he plays on the ice, but we think he's a really good athlete as well, based on his history of, he's a lacrosse player as well. But so we would prefer to get the test results, and then ultimately, I got to be honest with you, we're not really sure what to do with the test results when we get them, because there's some really good players who don't test well, and then there's some kids who test really well who don't become good players. So it's all more information to help you make a better decision, and ultimately sometimes it just confuses you. So again, we would have loved to have had it, but we're very comfortable because we really like this player.
Thank you.
John Shapiro.
Hey, Steve, when it comes to injuries in like an 18-year-old athlete, and obviously had Carter, and there's a couple other players that went in the top 10 that had some injuries this year. are there certain types of injuries that as a GM and as a talent evaluator that you have to worry about more when it comes to how it might affect a kid's growth? Like, how do you kind of weigh certain types of data like that?
Um, Good question. Well, this particular injury was, it was a skate cut. He got a laceration, went into the boards and hit a player, and somehow the opponent's skate cut him. It's kind of a freak accident or an accident. In hockey, these kids are starting to wear the Kevlar wristbands, Kevlar socks, and things to prevent some of these injuries. But in this particular case, we think this one heals 100%, and most of the players throughout that I've been around that have actually torn their Achilles, for the most part, guys come back. But in speaking with our doctors on this one, we don't think it's an injury that limits him, that will restrict him in any way moving forward. Again, it's like fitness testing. We look at these kids' injuries, and ultimately, the more we examine them, the deeper we get into doing physicals. You find something wrong with everybody, and even though they're 18, they've been playing for a long time, and most of them have something. Again, I don't necessarily need to get into specific injuries, but some things will scare you more than others. But I'll just use a torn ACL as an example. 30 years ago, most of us would have been, I'd be really hesitant to take a player. Now with the techniques that doctors have and the training, physiotherapy, like a torn ACL, other than the recovery, the time they're out, isn't really a concern for any of us in any sport for that matter. And I'm trying to think, was it the Lions that a year or two ago drafted one of the running backs who's had a torn, maybe one of the receivers who was coming off an ACL injury, and I think he's one of the best players in the league. You probably would all know better than me. So injuries are a part of it, and there is some risk involved with drafting any player, and even the healthy ones, they could get hurt. So there's a little bit of, you cross your fingers, and there's a little bit of luck involved in staying healthy. But for the most part, everybody's dealing with something now, it seems.
And then for just kind of as far as the draft board went across, not necessarily for you guys directly, but there was quite a few teams that like behind you had teams with back-to-back picks. We saw some movement in there. Was it a draft? Was it, in your kind of estimation, how you looked at it, was this a kind of what you expected with teams trying to move around a little bit, or were you surprised at all with what some other teams might have done to move up or down or anything like that?
Um, No, I don't really know what other teams' plans are. They don't really elaborate on why they want to do things, at least prior to the draft, or give up their strategy. Generally, you'll get a call at some point asking, do you want to move up or you want to move back? We had a couple of teams call us as our pick was coming near to see if we would move back, and as long as Carter was on the board, we were prepared to stay there. In fact, there's a couple other players as well, had he been selected, that we would have been more than comfortable or happy with selecting. But for the most part, I think the names that went were kind of what we, for the most part, expected. They might have just gone in a bit of a different order, and that's kind of what we thought. It was at least the top kids. We feel like this whole group, even the top, we weren't on our end not sure how that would all play out. It's just there's a lot of good players, and maybe grouped a little tighter than a lot of years. So we weren't surprised with how things played out, but we were sitting there, you're trying to guess who's going to pick next, and we honestly we had no idea who we thought. We're all trying to estimate what teams would do, but and I'd say we just felt like there's a lot of good kids here. There's not a lot of separation between the bunch this year.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Last question will go to Popped Up.
Yeah, Steve, doing comparables to NHL players is certainly not an exact science, but one of the things Carter said was he kind of looks at Brandon Hagel as the type of player he'd like to be. Do you see any of those elements in his game?
Well, I think the tenacity, yeah, I do see quite a bit actually. I didn't see Brendan Hagel as a junior. Saw him when he came to Chicago and followed his career closely. But yeah, there would be a lot of similarities. I'd consider Hagel to be a very tenacious player. Goes up and down, plays both ends of the rink. Is good, very good defensively and in the offensive zone as well. So yeah, I think that's not necessarily the name that would have come to mind for me. But yeah, I think they're very similar players.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.